Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Depth. We're finally back after being gone for basically months. I am your host, Future Freshman, and today I am joined by this man right here. His name is Dylan. Introduce
Hey, I'm
yourself,
Daddy
Dylan.
Dylan.
Yep, that's
I'm
that
Daddy
guy.
Dylan.
Dido Fellow, or whatever the hell you call yourself now, and of course, the infamous 347 Nerf Man.
It's just Nerf Man, but yeah, I'll take it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It is Nerf Man now. It's a reunion, everyone.
Hey, and, like this channel just went like back and forth. Like, all right, so Nerf Man left, and then I got tired of the podcast. You like completely died for like 2 months, and
I
then I
didn't.
seeked
To be
interest for
fair,
it again.
to be fair, I left right after you were gone for like 4 weeks because I was trying to
Yes,
contact
that's
you.
true. Well, we did record that episode, but that episode never got
Yeah,
uploaded.
we're not talking about that episode. That episode is a secret
No,
because
well, actually, two. Like two. There's one with
oh
Jaws
yeah.
Man. Then there was like that one with an individual we're gonna talk about.
One that I will not be commenting on because I
I'm
try
gonna
to
let
stay out
Dylan
of this
go out
stuff.
on
You
that
know,
one.
I'm just staying
Oh,
out of this
this
stuff.
one. Oh man,
Trying to
I
get
got, I got
myself
some
Interesting things.
yeah, trying to get myself out of the drama. You know.
Right. Okay, so I guess I should go first. All right, all right.
You know, you go ahead. You go ahead. Well, actually, maybe we should explain a couple things. First off, I really would rather leave the thing that you're about to talk about, Dylan, and just kind of focus on what Nerfman wants to talk about, because his is a little bit more urgent or needs to be said.
Yeah, I could get that. We should do maybe his first.
Yeah, and then yours
mine's
can
long
just be
though.
said.
It's got a
Yeah.
little bit of backstory to
By
it.
the way,
so-
hold on. I just want to say this as well. We are trying to move away from drama as much as we possibly can.
We're
but
more trying to like tell two different people that it's like, hey, can you stop doing this?
yeah, it's more like that. We're
Yeah.
trying to move away from it as much as possible. One of the thing that was done to Nerf Man, I mean, has to be said, and then the other one that Dylan's gonna say is just, you know, a problem. I guess.
The one I am going to address though kind of goes out to anyone who kind of wants to be on this podcast.
That is true. That is true. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, you know, Nerf Man, you have the spotlight.
Okay, so about a month ago, I'll say I can give a complete backstory in this, so just get relaxed, everyone. Relax your muscles and everything. But about a month ago, my father discovered a certain video I made called the Mollycraft 622 rant. And I'm not sure if you watched it, Future, but I know Dylan did, and it was a very, very, like, I guess you could say bullying kind of heavy rant. Like, I did a lot of bad jokes in that rant. So he told me to really calm down on that rant, on my rants and stuff. Like, he didn't tell me to take him down or anything. He just told me to calm down. So I made the Lewis rant, which was very, very, like, very just criticism heavy, no name calling whatsoever, and I got a lot of praise for it. So about, I'd say I'd say 3 days after I made my Lewis rant.
Yeah, I'd
My
have to say
father-
I haven't watched either of those. I think I watched a little of the Molly one. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but carry on.
Yeah, well, I'll just say the Lewis rant is very, I guess, a lot more professional. My newest one is probably the best I've ever done, but without out of the way. So about 3 days later, I had my father tell me that somebody on the internet contacted my auntie who lives in a completely different city, who is a very high up person at this certain job, telling them that I bully kids on the internet. And basically, like, it started, like, and then my parents started getting messages from these other people, like, request messages on Facebook and all this stuff. Like, it got to the point where, like, everyone was in a panic and wondering what was going on. So to be safe, I took down all my rants and roasts and to stop them completely, which is the real reason why I stopped them. I'm
Yeah.
not going back to them even if that wasn't the reason. I mean, I don't see a point in doing roasts anymore. I was going to end them anyway. So that entire thing caused, like, the biggest panic I've ever had on YouTube. Like, because I had a real life threat. Like, somebody's literally, like, trying to contact my family and everything like that, and I don't put my full name on YouTube or anything like that.
Absolutely.
Scary
Yeah.
stuff. Scary stuff. Now, tonight, literally like a month after all this has cooled down, I watched a live stream Lewis held on Instagram, and with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend started spewing stuff like, "Nerf man, we know where you live and all that stuff. So stop trying to talk shit. I contacted your auntie, and your father took down all your YouTube videos and all this stuff." And like, this is new to me. Like, they never came to me at all about this beforehand. This is how I figured it out, is through a freaking live stream. So I contacted Lewis after about it, saying, Lewis, what's going on? Are you and your girlfriend the reason why this entire thing happened to my YouTube channel, where I had to take down all my videos just because someone on the internet got offended by my jokes? He said, no, I don't know anything about it. And I'm like, well, your girlfriend is completely spot on about all the stuff that she said. Like, she said that they contacted my auntie first, and that is completely true. They did. No, and this information was not released any other way. I stated in my ending rants and roast video that I ended it because I was tired of them. I did not want to reveal this information, but I think I need to now, because a person, I think she did it because of my Lewis rant. She's probably got angry because I made a rant on Lewis. She contacted my family, and they started this big entire thing, like, in my life and everything. It's just one of the stupidest things that has ever happened, and I'm so pissed off about it right now. And I wanted to get Lewis on the Depth episode to talk about it, but he said he didn't really want to come on. So, I mean, I wish he would have come on, because I would love to talk to him about it. But that's the entire story. Lewis's girlfriend, I believe, and him, I don't know, I think he's lying to me, contacted my family because I was making jokes on the internet and made a criticism video on him.
Yeah.
Of course, he's lying, because it's like he's really close to his girlfriend. His girlfriend just said that on point. It's like, you didn't even mention it before. No one knew about this besides you, and she mentioned this full on accurate. I'm like, okay, Lewis had to know about this.
Yeah, and
exactly,
Lewis had to.
You know, trying to set aside what I think of Lewis, because I do like him. I think Lewis is at heart, a pretty good person. Who I've spoken to only a couple times and on occasion. And I really think if we're actually going to discuss this, we I hope in no way are trying to get Lewis any hate or like any. What I'm trying to say is that I think we want to get more of a point across rather than making this a full-on attack on him and what he does. Yeah, because I think this is important to say, because this just goes on for anyone, right? I've been criticized on the internet, as basically everyone has been who's ever been on YouTube before. If you handle criticism in a way that literally affects the person who criticized you, like regular life, affects their life, you've like instantly lost any high ground you once had, right? Because I don't know how bad the rant was, whatever you want to call it, that you did on Lewis was. I don't know what was said, to be honest. But if I'm taking your word for it, if it was just criticism, less than just jokes and stuff that were actually like offensive, whatever it might be, or hurtful, then the response to that.
So though,
yeah, the
response to it is completely out of hand. He could have just came to me saying that.
Absolutely, there's no justification. I totally get it. There's no justification for doing that whatsoever, and I think that point needs to be driven across. Like, and
exactly.
and hold on. Here's another thing. It is very, very possible that Lewis is actually. It could be possible that he's telling the truth. Maybe, and this is a maybe. I'm not saying that this is definitely the case. It is possible that he had nothing to do with this, and this is purely something that his girlfriend did.
It's
We're
true.
putting that on the table.
I was thinking about.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. I didn't state that. I stated that his girlfriend did it,
Yeah.
and that he might be a part of it. But I think it's pretty much fact at this point his girlfriend did it, because I did not reveal it any other way.
Yeah.
That was the first time it's been revealed to the public. And
Yeah,
with
that
a
doesn't
person
sound like something
this,
Lewis would do either. Why would
Exactly.
Lewis do such a thing? Yeah, I don't know his girlfriend though. I don't know anything about her.
No,
so.
she's really mouthy. Like, I swear, if you ever talk to her in a live stream, she's just off and off. But anyway, my point is though, is that it's just like with a person like this having that information about me, and I don't know how she got it, but she's got the information about me, and some of you guys might know, I'm not really liked on the internet a whole lot. So if she reveals this information to a lot of people, she can send just attacks to me, and that's just, I don't want any part of that. And I mean, I stopped my, like, I guess you can call somewhat of a roasting, bullying kind of videos, so I don't want any part of it. But this is just out of hand, and like, she took it to another level, or he took it to another level, or they both did. But the thing is, though, the only thing that confuses me, though, is that, like, he didn't say anything like, wait, what? You did this to Nerfman? You contacted his auntie or anything in the live stream? Afterwards, he was acting all surprised. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not assuming he knows it, but
I'm DMing him in a after this to tell them about it, because I think, like, even though I thought the stuff you made was completely idiotic and stupid, in the
I
end,
agree.
that stuff was never really interpersonal level besides making fun of someone's appearance. Like, that's the only time I kind of have to put the line down. But contacting someone's family and putting a little crisis on him because of the videos he makes on the internet about the things people do online, I have to put my foot down. That's ridiculous, all right? That's just beyond the point of any... I'm sorry. If someone did that to me because I was, like, going on my way to, like, criticize or, you know, really get down and call someone out for something they're doing, and they did that to me, if they contacted my family about this stuff I was doing online, even though there was nothing really wrong. Okay, with you, it's subjective what you done wrong. Personally, I think you name calling and the stuff you did was a little bit on the edgy side.
But I'm not. I mean, it is in a sense. But like, if I was literally saying, well, this kid who lives in like Milwaukee on this certain street, then yeah, go ahead, fucking attack me all you want. But like, seriously, of a couple of jokes on the internet, you have to go and contact my family about it. That is just out of hand, and it could have been solved a lot better. Like completely. Yeah. It's just crazy. I didn't even think it could ever happen.
You know what?
And I laugh a bit because earlier I said, like, Lewis, he tried to get with you, and the next thing you know, like, his girlfriend revealed that she got a hold of your Annie, and I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like you tried at all.
Yeah, and I have to say again, yeah, like, this isn't an attack on Lewis or not even his girlfriend. This isn't an attack. I think we're more trying to just get a point across more than anything.
Easily. We're not saying like you got to go contact Lewis or anything like that. We're just making this point that it's just taking this. It's also an example too. If you have a problem with someone on the internet, like some sort of troll or anything,
don't do that. Yeah, exactly.
Don't do that. No, either just ignore them or try to like resolve it with them.
And that's what I was going to say after. That's what I was going to say actually, real quick, is that I think that this can be solved between you and Lewis with no problems, rather than calling to arms and having a huge internet war over this.
I mean, if Lewis does have a problem, then I see a problem with what he's been doing to me, because he's been telling me, like, yeah, we're cool, man. I understand your criticism and everything. But, like, if he has a problem with me, then he's basically just doing the same thing that Space Wing did, and that he's doing a two-faced thing where he's telling me that he understands my criticism, but then he'll go to someone else, or he'll try to do different actions to just basically contradict what he's saying to me. And I don't know. I don't want any part of it, but I just want to say this. Like, don't ever do that to people on the internet. I'm fine with it now. I mean, if it ever comes a problem again where she does contact my family again, then I'll explain this to them, and that it's I don't know, it's something that is just I don't.
I would say that only time I would see that be necessary to get involved if the person making a rant on you or roasting you actually starts getting personal and actually starts kind of getting some personal information.
Well, you know what? And that's if it gets to that point, I don't think you contact the family. I think you contact the authorities.
Yeah, like 100%.
I mean, if it gets to the point where they're releasing personal information about you, no doubt in my mind you should go to the authorities. Like, no doubt, because if they're releasing private information about you on the internet, that can be legally counted as a ton of things. And that could
I'd
be
say
a
on that
lawsuit
level of contacting
in itself.
I can see on that level of contacting someone's family about it would be, it's just like, all right, so this is what his mom looks like. Like, this looks terrible. I just found this on Facebook and all that stuff. Yeah, you can definitely go to a family about that. But if it's like, oh, this person lives on this street and all that stuff, then yeah, contact the authorities.
Yeah,
there's different levels of action you can take, and this is definitely not the
this was an overreaction. Without a doubt.
Oh, yeah. It seems very defensive and very petty on Lewis's side. I would say Lewis's girlfriend, since she seems the culprit of this.
Well, isn't it certain?
The mastermind.
Isn't it certain that it's her, or are we?
Well, she's like the only one that ever mentioned it. Like, it's more kind of like, you don't want to point your finger on it, but you kind of do, because that's like it's like the most likely.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's just leave it at, we don't know who's responsible. We're trying to get a point across. Don't do this to anyone. And I think this can be solved, obviously, between Nerfman and Lewis. So yeah.
I would have loved to solve it if he actually did say there was a problem. But I mean, I always try to talk to him about it, but he was like, "We're cool" and all that stuff. I mean,
and then he says, "Oh, I attempted to be cool, but like, Nerfman doesn't want that."
Yeah. Anyways, moving away from that, I want to talk about something after this, but Dylan, you had something to say, and I'm keeping out of this. You.
Okay.
Don't
I got
mention
something
the
to say.
person's name. Can you please?
All right, I won't.
Yeah,
I won't.
just this
Since
is another.
He'll know who it is,
since
though.
it's DMs, the person will know who he is, but in general, like I'm just gonna keep this. But this goes to a message of anyone who wants to join on someone's podcast or ours. Never spam the hell out of the host on the show. All right. Okay, we're all a central mind. We all think alike. We message each other about it. You make a fool out of yourself when you continuously spam the person. All right. So let's go on. All right. So a while ago, there was we recorded an episode, me and Freshman with the two other people. It didn't go great. It was horrible. But later that night, some drama went down with those two people. Really confusing. It just happened so fast.
Yeah,
like
we're not even gonna go into it. It was.
Yeah, we're not. It just happened so
disaster.
fast. Of course, I got a little bit of information before one person did a video. We're not going to link it, all right, because we don't want anybody to dive down and try to figure out what this person's talking about. But it was so confusing so fast. I kind of know the basics of it.
Yeah.
Because I was told about it. It was funny enough that same person told me not to tell anyone else, but he made a video about it, so I'm like, all right.
Yeah, but besides that, like you were trying to say.
Yeah, besides that, the podcast has been dead for quite a while. So after that episode, yeah, it was dead. It was dead for a while until Nerfman just jumped up and he's like, hey, you want to do another death? And I'm like, yeah, dude, let's do another death. Yeah. And so when we get the first episode, immediately this person DMs me and says, yeah, you brought the death back. Hey, is there any chance I could be on since I'm supposed to be on in the next episode? And I said, very nicely, no. We are focusing on finding out where Freshman is because he's dead. He's probably in a ditch right now. And also as well, we got to try to get the channel leveled out how it was before, which usually for that is usually 100 to 200 views.
And not to mention, I know I said I wasn't going to jump in, but if you just got out of like a huge fight with someone and then you go over asking to just join on a podcast or just do anything with anyone else, you might want to kind of settle your beef before you start jumping on any other trains. If you know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, but yeah, go on.
And so he says that. So I told him straight up, it's like, okay, Freshman, he's dead in a ditch. And also as well, we need to try to get the channel back stable, which like I mentioned is 100 to 200 views. And so I had a little bit of conversation with this guy, something unrelated to, and I could kind of tell what he's doing. He's trying to get to more of a personal level with me, more of a kind of start some kind of chemistry, so I could be a lot more open to letting him on the show. I know because I could really tell what people, are kind of doing. So I'm like, all right, I get what this guy's doing. It's harmless. All right, okay. And then he sends me a few more messages, and I'm like, if this guy wants to continue the conversation, I'm not going to answer. He'll figure out that I'm not interested. But that wasn't the case. Usually people are like that. Usually when you stop talking, people soon realize that you're not really interested in the conversation anymore, and they stop. This guy continues. He continues telling me about the status of the new episode we uploaded to check when it is 100 views, which, like I mentioned, is the stable count. All right? So he checks that over and over again. He tells me, 80 views. 100 views. And I'm like, I don't care. The podcast is the second thing for me on YouTube. I don't care. Why are you telling me this? Of course, I never told him that, but I ignored him just because I thought it was pointless. And I knew what he was doing. He was trying to tell me about the status on the YouTube channel to remind me that it's becoming stable. And then, Freshman came back. Freshman's back. We pinned his comment on the YouTube channel, everything. He's back. I knew exactly from this person's mindset, he figured out that two main priorities are now finished. We hit 100 views, and Freshman's back. So guess what? Ooh, I get to get back on. He continues to message me over and over again, and then he's finally got a little bit, in a way of the angry side, a little bit negative, where he went, oh, so you're not going to answer me then? I guess so. Yeah. And then he proceeds to tell me about my YouTube channel, about to tell me how he's interested for the second episode, and I'm just here like, do you tell I don't want to continue the conversation. All right, I don't care. I'm not going to block him because I'm not like a mean-spirited person going out my way saying, I don't want you. But seriously, this thing right here, no, don't do this, all right? And plus, not to mention to that individual, I don't even want you on the show, all right? I have seen the videos you made, and I have also seen what and I've also heard some of the horror stories with you and other people. I don't want you on the show. I don't. I don't want you on the show. You're like an absolute like wreck. It's like Jesus Christ. Like I don't want you at all. Like seriously, get away. God. Just stay away. Like I have people like, you know, like a good friend of mine, Dr. Mifune, who I think would be great for an episode because me and him run a kaiju meme page, kaiju shit posting on Instagram. I mean, him also run another one with Space Sween and a few others, I believe, like maybe Titan Goji Edits, you know, Davis, him, yeah. And we run this other meme page called Transformers Shit Posting where we just do things for Transformers. It's fun. It's fun. And plus, Dr. Mifune knows way more about Godzilla than I do. And I'm a big Godzilla fan, all right? I know I outdo Nerf fan and me knowing that, but Dr. Mifune's like a god. He's like up there. So I know Dr. Mifune would be great for a podcast, but someone like him in the DM, someone like him, no, not at all. I don't want that, all right? I don't, okay? Because in reality, the only thing he really has to talk about is beef he had with another guy. That there's no doubt about it. He's on the negative side. He's on the wrong side. If he joins this podcast, we're gonna corner him to the point where he doesn't want to talk to us anymore. So I'm like, so yeah, what's the point? What's the point of having you on? You're boring.
You know,
you have nothing to add.
Yeah, one thing. I'm sorry. I was gonna say. I know this. I don't know this person personally, but I'm a good friend with him, and you know we've talked quite a bit. And yeah, I just want to say, just venting about your own beef on coming onto like a podcast and like planning to vent out your own beef, like this isn't.
I don't think
used
he
as
was planning to do that. I think he was trying to go with the whole thing where it was like drama free, and he just wanted to join because my friend Freshman's on it. Ooh, it's a podcast. It gets a decent amount of views. Ooh, I want to be on a podcast.
I'm not named. Yeah, and that's a good point. I don't know his true intentions, but this I guess is to anyone. If you go on to someone else's podcast to vent about your own beef, don't use that as the platform to do it on. Do it by yourself or on something else.
On your YouTube channel.
Yeah, make your own podcast. It's not that hard. It really isn't. You have a computer, do it. Get a few of your friends.
No, I don't even mean going to go make your own podcast. I mean just talk about your beef somewhere else, not on someone else's podcast, if that's the case.
Well, usually with his beef, he like immediately he's been completely quiet about it. Like him and the other person, like he's the one that's been completely silent. He's been just completely zero about it. Like he's doing damage control. He's making sure no one knows this, no one knows that, everything.
Yeah, and you know I'm not.
And the other guys has been full on open about it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna comment on the person. I still think he's a good guy. The thing is, I think the point we're trying to get across is don't spam anyone's DM section, especially if you're trying to get anything accomplished, because it literally makes no one want to do anything with you ever. So, you know.
Yeah, like make your own podcasts and leave us alone. All right, because doing this behavior.
That's not what I'm trying to say. What are you doing?
Dylan just does not want him near this place.
I don't. I want to straight up put a ban on him indefinitely. Ever joining this podcast. Like,
you killed the horse like 10 years ago, and you're still beating it with a bat. Jesus Christ.
It's like people like Lewis, Dr. Mifune, and maybe a few other people would be great for the podcast, but him, no. No, I don't want him.
I love Lewis on this podcast.
Lewis would be fun. His like voice is boring, but he would be fun. The other guy, get him out of here. Get him out of here. Throw him outside. Put him in the trash can. I don't want him. Get him out of here.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I think
what would you say about having like I know you have beef with him. What would you say about having Gojira 5400 on it?
Oh, like I said, I don't.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't have. Oh wait, are you talking about me having beef with him or?
No, Dylan.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I don't have anything against Gojira.
I don't really have any beef with him, in per se. Like I'm just like I don't agree with the things he's doing on YouTube to get views.
Yeah, we could do stuff
you
like
can term it whatever you want, but I think you could have a good debate with him.
If it's Kaijuzilla, he's probably gonna pull another what he did in December. So no.
Yeah, I don't think.
Oh yeah, he finally finally released this film.
Yeah, the machine.
Oh, dude, it was trash. I hated it. No,
Oh
I
my
really did. It
God.
had all the Kaijuzilla norms.
Serious?
It did. Like, it had
Come
It
on.
had everything
He like puts
that
effort
it
in,
has.
but he puts effort in.
It's
Okay,
true.
why are we
He
talking
does.
about this?
Tell me
Didn't
why
we
every
start this
character in
episode?
every scene has a speck of sand on them.
Didn't
All
we
the time,
st-
there's always
didn't-
sand on the character.
Didn't we start this episode by saying that we weren't going to talk about any more drama, and we've literally spent the entire
This
episode.
isn't drama. This isn't drama. This is about
It's
his
just criticism.
And you know what? That's what I
I-
wanted to talk about. Hold on one second. That's what I wanted to talk about. Number one, by the way, Kaijuzilla's fan films are quite fantastic. I think he does a really good job. I want to get that out there. Now, hold on.
Wait, but they got repetitive. They're the
Okay.
same thing over and over
And
again,
you
just
know
like
what?
upgrading at a visual and technical level.
You know what? That's
it.
your opinion. And Kaijuzilla, if you are listening, we don't get along, but I will agree you put a lot of effort into your videos, and I can respect that. Okay, other thing I want to say is that's what I wanted to talk about. If we can move away from this, I wanted to talk about criticism specifically, because I thought this would be interesting. When do you guys think that criticism can go too far? What do you think you can actually criticize someone for without it being completely, or hateful or mean? Do you see what I'm trying to say? Do you think there's a limit to it? How far can you go with it, and what can you criticize someone for?
Choose your words wisely. I mean, if you put a lot of like swears in there, if you put a lot of just like very, very, very down just to hate kind of message, then that's where it can go too far.
But that's
if
not
you do a very
criticism.
light,
When you think about that, that's not. If you're hating on someone, that's not criticism. That's
it's a
more,
part of your
attack.
criticism.
You think so?
It's technically it's kind of like that Godzilla guy. That's actually what his name is. That Godzilla guy. I don't like his stuff. I don't, but it's considered art, and you could do that, right? Kind of like that.
Yeah, but hate is not
It's
criticism.
hateful. It
Hate's
is,
not
but technically speaking, it is criticism because he is critiquing things, but in a non-professional level.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Non-professional.
I'm saying. Oh wait, maybe we're on two separate things. I'm saying if you're hating on someone, I don't think that's criticism.
And it's like bad art. You don't like it, but it levels
Okay,
on it.
that's a good example. If you say per se, let's just take a random art piece, all right? Just any random art piece, anything that you can think of. Let's just say the Mona Lisa.
Like Chris Chan's art for Sonic Shoe.
I'm trying to
right?
divert it away from the Godzilla community. I'm just talking about criticism in general everywhere, because I think this would be interesting.
Chris
to talk
Chan
about.
isn't part of the Godzilla community. He made a comic series called Sonic Shoe. You don't know who Chris Chan is?
No, I have
He's
no
a
idea
legend
who
on
the hell
internet.
you're talking about, Dylan.
Oh my God, look him up.
I was trying to get a point across.
Dylan, you talk like everyone knows what you're talking
Yes.
about. All the time.
Yeah, but it's Chris Chan. Everyone knows who Chris
Jesus
Chan
Christ!
is. Oh
All right.
my God.
You know what? Okay. God Almighty. Okay. Let's just the Mona Lisa. Just take this for example. Everyone knows what that is. Let's just say as a criticism, someone says, "I hate that art piece." Is that really criticism, or is that just being hateful? You think that's criticism? What is it? What is it critiquing?
There's a difference between bad criticism and good criticism.
Oh,
I think
that's a
it
good
still
point.
technically goes under it.
I think.
Yeah. It's like it's a spectrum. There's like great, amazing, like full on Rotten Tomatoes top critic thing, and then you got the little one where it's like people on on the Google Play Store giving a review and they're mad of it because it had bad language in it.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah, and
It's
that's
like
the thing. But that's actually a critique. This is like I'm saying you just hate the thing. You hate it for whatever reason. Is that still criticism? Because if you don't point out anything, if you let's say, all right, if you don't even point out anything at all. If you just say I hate that piece with nothing, you just hate it for some reason. I don't think that's criticism. I think it's criticism if you say I hate that piece because I don't like the coloration, something like that. I think that's criticism, not just saying.
Actually, no.
Wow,
I think that more goes on the level because that's actually more of an opinion. Criticism to me is when you point out something actually wrong. And
okay, that's a good point. Yeah.
and also another term, constructive criticism, where you actually tell the person what's wrong and build it.
Now, because
like an opinion is you just going, I don't like this because of this. But what they're saying isn't objective; it's subjective. That's an opinion.
Yeah. So wouldn't that mean that hating something is an opinion, not criticism?
Yeah, you could say that.
You see
could
what I'm
say
trying to
that.
say?
Unless,
Yeah.
But if they actually bring up like things to criticize that are actually objective, like if someone says, "I hate Godzilla Rise for Destruction," Lou shows his hand all the time. That's bad. I'm like, okay, that is
it always
objective
comes back to
because
the Godzilla
it is
community.
fact
There's
that
no
it is
way
a
to
bad
run away
thing
from
to
it.
Show your.
It's just how Dylan.
Well, because that's where it all revolves around of. Like we make this. And with this, there's Godzilla fan films, and usually the whole criticism thing
We're
usually
trying
goes
to move
towards
away
those.
from it. I was just trying to say. I was trying to just Give an example. Talk about
I
something.
think it's more relatable to the audience we have.
That is a good
Yeah,
point. I
yeah,
was
it's
going to
the
say
audience.
that too.
Majority of our audience is Godzilla, and also as well, the people we're talking about, Kaijuzilla and Louis Duran, that also are involved in this criticism. They do watch our show, so it would make sense to bring them up.
Yeah. And yes, you know what? That's a good point. It does. Our audience is primarily from the Godzilla community, but I kind of wanted to remove names from this.
Well, true, but I also don't see a problem with bringing them up. Like, I mean, we're not just saying, yeah, fuck
Oh,
Lewis.
yeah,
We're just bringing up as an
absolutely.
example for people to
Absolutely, yeah.
understand it more.
That's true. All right, carry on with what you were saying.
All right. So Machino.
Okay, let's just use Machino as an example.
Yeah, Machino is a film that I do find flawed. Now, I will say camera work wise and a technical level, there is effort in it. But what
yeah.
the result for it, I don't like it. The characters usually go under the trends that a lot of Kaijuzilla characters do have. The generic soldier guy that really has no point to be the primary protagonist besides being a soldier dude. Like, he really has no motivations besides, hey, we gotta do this like everybody else is doing. Also to mention that Machino as a kaiju, he's very bland and boring. Like, the horns on him seem a bit useless, and he's just like kind of your big arm, front arm, large reptile monster. And he doesn't really do much. And he has that thing I like to call Heisei syndrome, because in the Heisei era, if you notice a lot of the flying kaijus, or even like kaiju such as Destroya, they're very stiff. They barely move because of, yeah, they more focus on the design rather than how it would actually work on film. And that's exactly what Machino does. If you actually watch Machino throughout the film, he barely does anything. He wobbles around, just scoots his legs on the ground, and when he actually does use his beam, we never see him directly actually shoot his beam at anything. We just see it, and it's gone. He never uses it again. And he always kind of feels in the background, and he never actually feels like... The plot is centered around Machino, but he doesn't really do anything besides being there.
Yeah, like Godzilla 2014.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know what? And that's an example of criticism, not hate. What you were just saying.
Also,
that kind of fell into what I was trying to say. But go on.
Dylan, that villain character was good, wasn't he?
Oh no, my God! He files under like those villains that drive me nuts, where they always give monologues and they're always crazy and they're weird and they're savage, and I'm like. And I remember talking to Space Queen about it, and I mentioned this, like, the villain in Machino reminds me of the villain from the game Dying Light, where, like, they kill their own men, they give monologues, they keep the main hero alive and kill everyone else because they want to challenge all of that. It's ridiculous. I don't like that. It seems generic, and it seems like a cheap way to make someone crazy instead of actually making them, like a kind of a psychological villain where you don't know what he's going to do next, but in the way he's still reasonable. Like, I feel like that's what he should have done, but except he completely went around that and went the generic, I'm crazy, guys! Ooh, ah! And by the way, how does a small terrorist group get an atomic bomb? Like, that's what I want to know.
Okay.
Don't be too mean. I played that villain. I will say, though, like, I do agree, though. Like, I mean, like, his monologues are kind of pointless, but, I mean, they're written very well.
They seem... I kind of call them, like, Matrix monologues, where it's just kind of like nothing with only a few things of substance. And also, I find one part really funny is that when your character actually got done finishing up, like, his big monologue, Space Queen character comes in and starts talking, and then immediately you interrupt and go, but, and, like, there's, like, a 1 second pause between you and Space Queen, and you were done saying what you were doing, then you still interrupted his character. Like, what? He patiently waited, and your character's rude like that.
So, as someone who hasn't watched the film fully, I've seen about 20 minutes of it. Random clips, by the way. I kind of just skipped around the video. What I wanted to say is that this is what... I find this kind of interesting, because I want to ask you, Dylan, did you enjoy it, even though you thought it was flawed?
Enjoy it? And a level of making fun of a lot of the things in the film, and also pointing out everything,
Oh, God.
like all the little trends that Kaijuzilla does in his films. I will say this is in the step in the right direction for him being more original, because I kind of feel like if Kaijuzilla wants to actually become a movie director and he wants to get noticed by some higher people,
that's not my question. I'm just saying, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
On the level of it's so bad, it's decent.
Okay. Now this is interesting because it's the one I want to point out. I think for me, and I'm talking about any type of film. I enjoyed Mushino, just the parts that I watched, even though, of course, it's not fantastic as a film. I mean, what do you expect from someone
Toys.
making a film by themselves with toys and action figures? I mean, I thought it was great. I enjoyed the creativity and how much effort he put into it. But anyways, the thing is, I enjoyed it. And there's a lot of films, and I'm talking about big blockbuster films, right, that I enjoy, even though they technically might not be good films, right? Now, this is where I think it gets interesting. So there's two types of people that I think who watch movies, right? There's the people who, like me, who can ignore a lot of the things that make the movie bad, and can still enjoy the film. For example, this is actually one that I think a lot of people might agree with me on. Star Wars Rogue One? Did everyone see that film?
Yeah.
Now,
I didn't
that
like
film,
it.
honest to God, I thought was incredibly flawed. Like, even as someone who doesn't really look at films and, like, criticizes them, I was like, okay, there was a lot of problems with the film, right?
Mm-hmm.
Altogether. The characters, a lot of other things. We could talk about that for days. The thing is, I still enjoyed it. Just for certain things, like I enjoyed some of the action scenes. I just enjoy the Star Wars universe. Things like that, right? And it still allowed me to enjoy the film. And then there's other films which are actually well made and good. This is a movie that probably not a lot of people have seen. It's called War Machine on Netflix.
I did not see it.
It is spectacular, actually. Like how they frame everything, and just it's really cool. Basically, just to give a little short synopsis, because it didn't sound like a lot of people watched it. It's a movie that it stars what's his face? Why am I forgetting his name? He was in World War Z. He had the main character. Brad Pitt. Yeah. Why did I forget his name? How the hell did I forget that name? He's inside the film. He's the main character, and it talks about U.S. involvement in Afghanistan. I believe the organization is called ISAF, and ISAF it's a U.S. funded organization that's meant to keep the peace and allow Afghanistan to prosper. And it goes around all that, and it kind of makes fun of how they're trying to carry it out, and just how big of a failure it is, and all the things that we're basically trying to be pushed through. And throughout the story, it basically criticizes the whole movement of basically what they call coming into an area and rebuilding, insurgency. And how basically the whole war was more of an invasion than being rebuilt. It's really interesting. I recommend you watch it. I think it's hilarious, and it's very well done. The thing is, I watched it, and even though it was really well done, I didn't enjoy it a ton. It was more of like, it was good, but I didn't enjoy it. So do you think that a film has to be good, does it have to be good in order for you to enjoy it? Or can you still enjoy a film without it actually being good? Does that make sense? What do you guys think?
It has to have some sort of payoff. Like the action scenes are usually a lot of the payoff when it comes to like bad movies, because they have bad scripts and all that stuff. But then when it comes to action scenes, like for instance 2014, I think a lot of the human scenes of 2014 were very bland. Although I like the film better than Shin. But when it comes to like Godzilla, fuck you. When it comes to Godzilla, like Godzilla is pretty much the payoff in that movie. Like a lot of other Godzilla movies, in my opinion, he's always the payoff because you're always looking forward to see him. So I kind of keeps you going through the movie. So I do see that's why a lot of these bad movies are enjoyable, which a lot of Godzilla movies are bad.
Yeah, and that's a great example actually. Kind of the Godzilla franchise altogether. But yeah, 2014, like you were saying, the characters in that film pretty much suck. The story itself is a little bit cheesy, but the whole thing with Godzilla being in it and all those action scenes makes the movie so much fun to watch.
Exactly.
And I think that's like for a lot of other films. What do you think, Dylan?
Too bad Shin didn't have that.
Oh, you fucker. Shin was smart. 2014 was trying to be pretentious by telling you about Hiroshima, but I go
like
against
that
my
message,
ideology.
though.
I shouldn't be comparing the films. I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Do that. Yeah. But to me, what makes a film fun to watch is usually if it's interesting, intriguing, fun because I don't like just full on action, right? Okay, like I like explosions in movies if they look like explosions, okay? Not like when you watch Transformers: Age of Extinction and when like Grimlock gets hit by Optimus Prime in the face. When he's sliding on the ground, there's like 50 explosions happening around him, even though he's not touching this area. Hell, even someone pointed out in Transformers the Last Night when Grimlock's actually jumping, before he even touches the ground, like at least 4 feet from the ground's already exploding. Straight up. Before he even touched it. And it's like, people go in there for mindless action. They do. They go for that. But I get bored of that. I'm the kind of guy that likes characters with a good adventure. Likes characters that do something amazing. That's why I've been a big fan of like games such as like Halo 3. Like those games are full on adventure. They like the story. You can sit down and say it's mediocre, but the storytelling is what makes it amazing. And the level design complements it. It's great.
Yeah, and
I'm not expecting for a sit-down, intriguing story that hits me hard. I'm sitting down for a good storytelling that makes the characters fleshed out, that makes them great, and also as well makes the movie fun. You can look at the original Star Wars. The movie's cheesy.
Oh,
it is.
absolutely.
It's really cheesy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's a fun watch. You can sit down and enjoy yourself while watching it because you can tell that these are people behind this movie. I won't say because effort doesn't always equal to something amazing, but you can tell they wanted to tell a good story and they told it properly.
Yeah, and you know what? That's actually, I liked your Halo example, because and you're kind of the person where you actually enjoy films because you enjoy the certain films that you do because of the characters in them, because it's a good story. Whereas maybe me and Nerf Man, I'm not speaking for you, Nerf Man, but from what I heard from you, it's more of like, that can be a secondary thing as long as the movie is still enjoyable and it has some good. If all the other factors play in, it can still be a fun, enjoyable film.
Yeah, exactly. And also a lot of the like characters have to do with the actors. Like you can have a bad movie, for instance, apparently Mummy's going to be bad, but like Tom Cruise in the movie is supposed to be good still. So like you can have a bad movie with a good actor.
Yeah, that's true.
With good actors.
And even then, but if it's a bad movie with a good actor, the good actors sometimes just can't save it if it's bad. But that's a whole separate thing.
Will Smith as Deadshot in Suicide Squad. Other than that, the movie was shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I actually completely.
It was terrible.
That was a garbage film.
Worst movie I've seen 2016. Honest opinion. That movie was a pain. I'm so glad I picked that up on a drive.
It was not enjoyable, and it was a bore. I completely agree. We can talk about that later. But
I actually do own Batman v Superman on Blu-ray, and I'm not a big fan of that too, but I just got it because I want to see the Ultimate Edition. So I'm like, all right, I'll get it.
Anyways,
the Ultimate Edition's not worth it, but okay.
If we were to talk about video games, I like what you said with Halo 3. I haven't played Halo 3 myself. I've played Halo 4.
Play it. It's amazing. You can get it at like your local video game shop for the Xbox 360.
Oh, absolutely.
For like a cheap $10.
Yeah.
And if you have an Xbox One, get the MCC. It plays amazing 60 frames per second. It's great.
I know you could get them cheap, absolutely. But like compare that like Halo 3, right, where it has, if I'm going off what you're saying, good characters, a good all-around story, maybe the action.
Well, the melodrama is a bit on the side. Like when Sergeant Johnson dies, I found it funny because of how melodramatic it was. Like Cortana gets out of the chip, she's like, "I'm sorry," and I'm just there bursting out laughing.
Yeah, stuff like that, right? Now, the kind of video games I enjoy are like Far Cry 4 in particular. The like per se, a lot of the characters inside that game. Have you ever played Far Cry 4?
I've watched a lot of stuff.
I actually haven't played any of the Far Cry games.
I highly recommend it because they are so much fun. The story is kind of secondary, right? Because everything else, the action, the explosions, just the absolute chaos, the environment, the animals are, like how the animals interact around you and how like at random moment, like Far Cry 4, for example, like at random moments you'll be driving, shooting the car behind you, and then like a rhinoceros comes out of nowhere and just fucking like hits the car that's right behind you, and it's just amazing to watch, because it's really cool. And it's like the action, stuff like that. Whereas the characters within the game are kind of questionable. They're just kind of mediocre. Who cares, right? Except Pagan Man, he's so cool. He's a really good like evil character inside that, and it makes you hate him. Which I think if you're actually able to get an emotion that you feel towards a character, then you've done really well with that character. Because I wanted to kill Pagan Man throughout the entire game. Once you hear his entire story, it's really cool. And I think that's
I like that character.
Yeah, Pagan Man. Oh yeah, he's so cool. It's like how they make him like a psychopath. It's so awesome. You have to play it to fully get what I'm trying to say.
I mean, I watch a lot of. I mean, I really just.
So am I
watch a lot
guessing
of
he isn't like Nerfan's character in Machino, where he actually is like the psychotic, where it's cool?
Yeah, it's like he's a psycho. He's really cool, and how they introduce him in the game, like he literally. I showed this clip actually on my most recent video because I was talking with my brother, in talking points about Far Cry 5 and the controversy around that. Really cool video. Check it out. Shameless self-plugging. But I showed a clip in there, and it's basically how they introduce him. He like gets out of a helicopter because one of his men shoots up a bus that you're in while you're getting off, and he basically comes out of the bus and starts lecturing the guy. And literally after that, he just murders him with a pen. Just fucking just kills him. And just like stabs the guy to death.
I've seen that clip. Yeah,
7
that's pretty
times.
cool.
And he after that he kind of just looks at you. He kind of smiles, then he looks down at his shoes, and he says, "I got my fucking shoes covered in blood." It was like something like that, and it just kind of like makes him like this total psycho. He's like bipolar. He'll be like completely just out of control, completely pissed, and then all of a sudden he's happy to see you. And it was it's just he's such a cool character because of like how much of a psycho they make him out to be. You know?
Yeah, and that's what I heard a lot of the good things about the Far Cry games is because apparently the third one had a really good villain.
Oh
and,
yeah,
like,
Voss. I haven't played
and
that
that's what,
game,
like-
but I've heard he's really good. Yeah.
I don't really know if they're gonna have one for the fifth. I haven't seen the trailer, but
Oh yeah, it's like a cult leader. You have to check it out. It's pretty cool.
but yeah, I think that driving force for those games right now are the really good villains.
Exactly. Yeah, and
I
you know
think
what?
I will say this though. What I'm a little nervous about the Far Cry games is I've been actually noticing they've been kind of copying and pasting elements. Like if you actually look
Oh,
at
yeah.
Far Cry 4 and Far Cry Primal is literally a copy and paste reskin of everything in Far Cry 4. Like there's comparisons of the map designs that are literally like on point besides art style. Art style is different.
Far Cry 3
Everything
and
else is
Far
very
Cry
similar.
4 are the two that are the same. Primal went on its own route in the sense that it like completely changed how the game worked. Like it wasn't like a first-person shooter. It was. Have you played Far Cry 5? Oh wait, no, you haven't played any. But it was like a completely different game.
Something.
Game
Something
engine.
to also
Yeah.
point out is that, like I mentioned, sometimes games have a really good story, and they get suck total balls. Kind
yeah.
of like Star Wars Episode 3. Amazing story, but they screwed it up, and the movie was cringeworthy.
Yeah.
Right? It was. Like, you watch that movie, it is just straight up like, no, this doesn't make any sense.
Best are the prequels though.
Yeah, all the prequels.
Oh, yeah,
all the
absolutely.
prequels actually could have a good story. You know, the political undertones could have worked, but they didn't. It was like always boring to sit through.
Yeah.
And like with Timefall 2, it has a pretty bad story, pretty mediocre. It's pretty cliche, but in the end, the game's good. The campaign tells it great because the story is secondary, while the gameplay is what continues the story. And I love that. That's like what Halo 3 did. That's what Halo 2 didn't have the best level design because it was rushed, but Halo 2, Halo CE did it. Those were great. But the games that I don't like, I don't like that I find super linear, super boring, on rails, is actually, this is going to be a bit controversial, all the Uncharted games and The Last of Us. I really don't like them.
God,
I
you're gonna-
really don't.
Yeah, you're gonna get
disagree
hit
with that.
hard.
I really don't. They are on rails. They are super linear, and I don't think they tell a good story. Like, the story's good, but just the level design never really complements it. It's a bit annoying.
Yeah.
Wait, you just said
Alright.
you don't think you just said you don't think they tell a good story, but then you just said the story's good.
Well, well, yeah. Okay, I messed that up. I don't think the storytelling's good. I think the story is, but the storytelling completely is flat and does not complement anything. It really doesn't. Like the Phantom Pain, like that. The story wasn't great, but in the end, this is like the first time where no one really kind of cared because the gameplay was fun and it complemented the story. It did. It was great. You know, story, not too much. Storytelling, it was fine, it was good, and the gameplay complemented it. That's what you want to do as a game. You want to make the person feel like they're a part of this, rather than they're like just walking around in a cutscene.
And you know what? I think there's games that actually they can get both things right. Please don't spoil anything, even though I don't think there really is anything to spoil. I'm playing it right now. I'm way far behind, I know, but I'm trying to get into the Assassin's Creed series, and I own an Xbox 360, and I went down to a local GameStop and bought Assassin's
Get Halo
Creed.
3, get it.
Anyway, hold on. I bought Assassin's Creed 2, and I've been playing that, and I really enjoy it for two things. Number one, it is kind of like it is almost comparable to Far Cry actually. But the game itself, how it's open world and how all the action in it makes it so much fun to play. But at the same time, the story is also intriguing. And in that game, you actually kind of have to follow the story a little bit more than you have to do in per se Far Cry. But I like it because of the action, how I can go off and do my own thing. But at the same time, I'm not annoyed that I'm being dragged along by the story because the story is actually good. Have you guys played Assassin's Creed 2?
I haven't played all of them, but I have played a few. I have played 3 and 4, and a few of the older ones as well. When I went over to like a friend's house or a cousin's house.
Exactly, yeah. And anyways, but with Assassin's Creed 2, what I like about Assassin's Creed is, so far as I've been playing it, people have said that like Assassin's Creed 2 is the best in the series. So maybe I'm just getting, kind of like the best taste of it. But from the game itself, from that standpoint, it's really good, and like because it tells a good story. The gameplay is so much fun, and it just like altogether it just makes it fun to play, And that's what when both the story and the gameplay is nailed correctly, it can make a game just one of the best things ever. It can make it such a fun experience, especially if it's given like a unique thing to it. If you give something to it that makes it really fun and like something interesting, right? Assassin's Creed, the whole idea of you going back in time and like taking over someone else's body, basically, and playing as that character, a historical figure, and how like they literally it's transporting you back to another era, and they have like some like Assassin's Creed 2 takes place in Italy. Florence is where you start off in. During a time where there was a lot of political turmoil and a lot of infighting in Italy, and it like shows you they have like the buildings, like they have like the entire city of Florence back in 1476. Like all of it is right there for you, and you can like see like the structures that were there at the time. They put so much time into that it made the game so cool. But it's you have to play it in order to experience it to know what I'm trying to say, because it feels like it takes you back to another point in time, and I love it. So
one criticism I have with games right now is that they're trying to be movies. Like they'll have a terrible story, but they'll have like so many like. For instance, Battlefield, for example. I think they did good with the Battlefield 1, but I didn't play the campaign. But Battlefield 4 basically is just a movie playing in front of you. Like you're just sitting back and watching your character going through all these obstacles. You're not doing anything while he's in first person mode and everything.
In the campaign.
It looks cool, but you play a game to play the game, not to watch a freaking movie.
Yeah, and that's what I completely agree.
Battlefield 1 is like that. I haven't finished it, but I have played I would say the prologue and 3 of the missions. Yeah, it is a bit of the movie side. It is. I do find like I get Battlefield 1, I get World War 1. It was really boring. It sucked. It really did. So of course when you
it really
did.
Like millions of people died. It really sucks, man.
Yeah, to like contrast in the game, you have to take some liberties, but some of the things they did in the campaign, it's just like, what? You're like in Italy running around with Iron Man armor, killing everybody in like 2 shots? What? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I actually wondered about that because and this is Battlefield 1. It takes place in World War I, correct? Like that's where the whole game takes.
Yeah. But it's like it's secretly a World War II game. Yeah. Everybody has like automatic weapons.
I know. I was questioning that.
I was questioning because the entire game, World War I, was fought in the trenches. Besides the beginning of the war, when people had no idea what the hell they were doing to fight the Germans. But like,
I would actually love it in the multiplayer. Your teammate actually got damaged being in the trenches, and he had to rub whale oil on his feet.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, that's really funny. If you want to play a really good World War I game, a realistic one, play Verdun. It's a multiplayer game. If you're into that type of history, play that game because it's trench warfare. It's really cool. The creators of it like focused on the guns that were used in the war, the costume or the uniforms, I should say. It's really cool. It's on Steam. Go get it. It's worth your money. I put a ton of hours into that game. But yeah, I always thought that was kind of funny. But like you were trying to say, we kind of got off track. Yeah, I don't like that because video games should just be played for the enjoyment. It doesn't have to be a movie, make the game fun to play, not to watch, if that makes sense.
And the graphics as well. Everyone's like, oh, let's focus on the graphics. You know what? take away from the graphics and expand on your game, because in general, a lot of people don't care about graphics. Like, yeah, Halo 5 got this wrong. Dylan will understand what I'm talking. Will understand what I'm talking about. But they took a lot of the gameplay elements and they took out split screen just so you can have better graphics and better frame rate. But what everyone
it's 1080p, 60 frames. And by the way, like they say 60 frames per second, but if you look at enemies at the very end of the map, they're like walking around 15 frames per second. Like it's really bad. Like what's going on?
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because there's a lot of games where the graphics look absolutely garbage, but are just so much fun to play. You know.
I will say the same Helios missions in Halo 5 look amazing. Everything else kind of looks like trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks basic. I mean, like what game developer should understand is that we just care about gameplay. We don't. A lot of people don't care about
Halo 6. They are really focusing on that. Master Chief, yet again, you're going to play as him as the main guy. You're going to be more focusing on gameplay than the story. They're bringing split screen back. They're focusing on what pleases us, and I like that.
And
yeah, I mean, I'll give them another chance, although I did give them one for Halo 5, and they kind of failed. But they also did improve on the multiplayer, which I did.
Oh, the multiplayer! I'm so glad they fixed heavy aim just recently. So much fun.
And because we're on the topics of graphics and gameplay, have you guys ever played the Total War series?
No.
No. Anyways, it's made by Creative Assembly, but those games got worse. The new ones are a lot worse than the old ones because they devoted everything to graphics and trying to make the game appeal and look cooler, that it took away from the gameplay itself. Like they installed a new engine for their new games, and it kind of ruined the gameplay altogether. Whereas
I think one thing to bring up as a good example of just not really focusing too much on graphics and gameplay, Overwatch. Like that, it's so much fun to play. I'm a Bastion and a Reaper main. I know Bastion's kind of a bit embarrassing, but I just love him. He's so much fun to play as.
Reaper's cool.
Yeah, and Reaper's fun too. But yeah, that game, like the graphics are super cartoony and simple. That the game runs like butter.
Absolutely.
I will admit though, when it comes to like the marketing team of these game developers, it is harder to advertise a fun and like really good game than to advertise a good looking game, because a lot of people will look at a game and say, "Wow, that's good looking."
Well, it's Blizzard. Everybody will go to Blizzard.
Well, yeah, isn't that like how Crytek is able to sell their games, even if some of them are garbage? They
and
just look
League of
amazing.
Legends and Team Fortress 2 and Gary's Mod and CSGO. Like all those things are still very, very popular, but their graphics compared to like other games are like really like
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like a lot of the games that I've played that I've enjoyed the most had like pretty garbage graphics, you know?
Oh yeah.
Which I gotta say, like, and that's usually what people actually really do. They want to, like, people who like CS:GO and Overwatch. They want to make the game look good, obviously. So they try to simplify things to make them look good. CS:GO, my only issue with the graphics, it has like that 2007 shadowing, like where it's not really a shadow, it's just a really dim area and it looks very gray. Black Ops 3, a game I'm not a big fan of, did this and was really annoying, where it just had that really dim 2007 shadowing. But like CSGO, like they put time and effort into the graphics, but the graphics are very simple, and you're obviously there to play the game. Overwatch, same thing. They're simple, they're cartoony, they're pretty strong on the shape design. But guess what? The game plays like a dream. The only thing I wish they did is that they with the loot boxes, don't give me repeats. I counted, like, at level 50, you get, like, almost 200 items in the loot box, and there's, like, almost 2,000 items in the game that you can unlock. So I'm like, people would be, like, level 400 when they complete this. Why won't, no, like, and plus it also benefits us as a player to get things during events. To get that. Like, I don't get why they do this.
Yeah, well, you know what, guys? We hit up on a lot of things today. We're about to hit the hour mark. We're 58 minutes in.
All right.
I was going to say, because I want to keep the episodes to like 45 minutes to an hour, but we did it. This was a good episode. This is a good return with all three of us. We hit a lot of things today. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I like that we hit the. I like that we can do Godzilla stuff. Like, I mean, for instance, the Lewis stuff we talked about, and the privacy stuff, and then the one certain individual like harassing us to be on this podcast. But then also put in some original take on it and talk about some stuff that we like talking about, like video games, which I think is a good mixture.
Yeah. I do. Yeah, and that's what I want to aim for, because I kind of want to make this podcast a little bit more I want to divert it away from the Godzilla community and drama, and just kind of have it has three people just talking.
Godzilla community. Hey, dude, main audience.
Yes,
main
I
people.
understand that. I understand that, and we're
yeah.
gonna keep on talking about it. But I also think people would enjoy just having, because we all three of us come from
Just
pretty
get
different.
back into Godzilla. They released 1984 on Blu-ray. It's not that hard.
Yeah, because we're three people who come from quite different backgrounds, and I think that's good when we have like that good mixture because it allows for some awesome conversations. As today
we didn't
proved.
spam each other
And we
to
what?
get on a show. We
I
didn't
will say-
spam each other to get on a show.
Yeah.
I will say though the Rick the Squirrel Jaws-Man episode was really boring. I couldn't sit through it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
and plus it
Yeah.
barely got any views. Like I think it only got like 30 to 60.
Yeah.
I haven't checked.
No, but
Yeah,
I
I just got
wasn't
bored
into that
the first
episode
week.
whatsoever.
Oh.
Yeah, that episode sucked. I wasn't into that episode at all.
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't in it.
I you know what?
My
I will
qualities were terrible.
I will personally take it down if I have to because it was awful. I'm not gonna defend that
and it was a
episode.
bonus episode, so it's non-canon.
Yeah.
You can retcon it.
Non-canon.
Anyways, any closing things you guys want to say before we end it?
A little thing, just something to add. Halo Wars 2, I don't know what happened. Like, it was, like, really hyped, and immediately a week after it came out, everybody just stopped talking about it. Other than that, to end this, I am the mightiest Philo, the daddy of them all, Daddy Dylan, Dillo Philo, Dylan McIntosh. And, yeah, it's like, this podcast is back. It's going a lot more fluid than it did before. No one's getting cornered here, besides people who are not on the show.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, because that's what we do on this show. We all get back together and then we just start criticizing other people and making them feel like shit.
Yeah, that's the only way you connect if you make other people feel bad.
also for you Baited fans, Clown is apparently back on Baited now.
Yes, I heard about that. By the way, Catch 33, the podcast with him, Tommy C, and some other guy whose name I can't remember. Highly recommended.
Vega.
It's
But
pretty,
I don't know
it's really
Yeah,
well done.
but now since Clown is, because everybody watched Baited for Clown and Keem, and now Cloud's back on it. It's like I just want to watch that now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch Catch 33 because if he's on both, then they're gonna talk about the same thing.
That's
and I'm
true.
just like,
But Catch 33, actually, you should watch because the guy who makes the videos for him, it's artistic. You'll see what I mean.
it
if you
is
watch
really cool.
Oh
yeah.
that's why I love it,
Auto.
and I love just listening to Colossal is just amazing. The clown,
Yeah, Colossal's very.
I could feel like he could flick his tongue and immediately like everybody fucking orgasms.
Yeah.
It's just that smooth.
Yeah, he's amazing. Anyways, Nerf. Any other closing statements?
Well, my name is Nerfman, and I mean I'm not an attention whore anymore. Dylan can say whatever.
Yeah, and your channels,
Yeah, you are.
and your channel's dying.
Hey, if you stop clickbaiting,
Yeah.
I'll stop.
Hey, my clickbait is going away if you look at my channel. So
Good.
screw you.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, I commend you for your Lewis stuff.
Yeah, but hope you guys do enjoy my new content, and also always be a douchebag.
No, you're
faggot.
taking it away from him.
2 episodes in a row. I love it.
You're the reason why kids shoot up G-Fest.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I hate douchebags.
Anyways, and for me, if I for my closing statement, I would also recommend, because we were talking about podcast, if I could recommend one, 2 ones. If you want a good one, listen to Hot Wet Soup. They're amazing. I love their podcast.
I thought they ended that because of one guy, he like supposedly admitted that he was a sociopath.
Oh yeah,
And it
yes.
was like really weird.
Zapty, yeah. That's a whole different story. But yeah, they're really cool. If you, it's Leon Lush, Bionic Pig, and Elvis the Alien. They make a really good podcast. I recommend them. And listen to This American Life. They talk about some really cool
Oh,
stories.
and also watch Alex Jones for the memes.
Please avoid. Anyways,
Said watch it. It's great. Screw the globalists. It's over for the globalists. Break the conditioning now.
Get your global off from the salviaeric.com store. If anyone gets that
The
reference,
frogs are
I
gay.
love you. But do you guys know what I'm talking about? Global off?
Nah.
Yes. Anyways, we'll see you all in the next episode. Thank you all for joining. Bye-bye.
Bye.